Hi, my name's TG Trooper. I'm here with my good friend Sarah Banham, who is a writer of fiction and non-fiction. So we're going to start off with this book, The Guide to Creative Writing. I've read this book and I can honestly say that it's a book I really wish I had before I started writing, because it has just about everything you could ever want in it. It's good advice. It's not preachy, there's no rules, there's no you must do this, you mustn't do that, and it's all broken down into bite-sized chunks. So if you want to start writing or you want to improve your writing, buy this book. And more importantly, if you know somebody who wants to start writing, buy them the book. It's I can't say it any plainer, particularly if it's a young person. It's so important for young kids to start writing. So without any further ado, I have my trusty clipboard and we'll start, shall we? Now, this is published by Pen and Sword Books.
Yep.
They usually feature military-themed historical stuff. This clearly isn't. So how did that come about?
Quite some time ago, I was one of the people who did a load of reviewing for them, and I did that for about 7 years. I'd formed a group of people doing it as well. And when they have several imprints, and one of them is a leisure imprint called White Owl, and that's how I knew about that. However, I'd noticed a gap. I'd noticed because they had bookbinding books and they had calligraphy books, but they didn't have creative writing, and I thought, ooh, I wonder.
Okay.
So I pitched the idea and they went for it, and that's how it came about. That's the short story. The long story, slightly longer, is the fact that when they sent back the yes, we really like it and we'd like to offer you an advance, blah blah blah, I thought it was spam, because how frequently does that even happen?
Yeah.
So I didn't answer it for about a week. Now, looking back, I think, why didn't I answer it? So I left them hanging for a little bit, and then eventually they sort of wrote back, and I wrote back, and I realised, actually, I'm going to have to take a chance that this isn't a scam, and this is completely okay. And I did it, and got the contract through and everything, and I thought, gosh, why did I leave it so long? So that's how that came about, yeah.
Okay. So there are plenty of writing guides out there. What's different about this one?
Well, I think that this one focuses more on developing creativity within you. There's so many people that say they don't have any imagination at all. They're not creative. It's all wrong. And I think when it comes to, let's use this example, when it comes to children, if they want to try something new, we give them absolutely all of the encouragement and support that they could possibly want or need. And if they mess up, we say, it's fine, it's okay, try again, let's try it another way. And we do that a lot with children. When it comes to adults, we, and ourselves particularly, we say, I'm going to try it, and probably isn't going to be any good.
Yeah.
So we put ourselves down instantly. Then we do try it, and for whatever reason it might not go great straight away. And then we'll give up and go, well, I haven't got time, it wasn't worth my time, it didn't work, I'm no good at this, I'm really bad at creativity and imagination. But if we put the kind of encouragement that we give to children on ourselves and other adults, all those, that's just amazing. That kind of enthusiasm would be amazing. Yeah. So that development, that's what that book is about, is giving yourself that time and that space that we do with children, but on adults too.
I hear that so often when I'm talking to people. I want to write, but I don't know how to, and it probably won't be any good. I can only do 50 words, all that sort of thing.
I think we expect a masterpiece from ourselves on day one, rather than working up to that.
Now, there's a lot in this. It must have taken you quite a while to write.
It took me 5 months. Well, it took me 4 months, really. When the publisher wrote back and said, when can you do it by? I've done a lot of NaNoWriMos, and
what is NaNoWriMo?
National Novel Writing Month, which is actually finished now. But it's been going for years and years, and the idea was it's an international initiative to get anybody to write 50,000 words in a month, and that sounds terrifying, but if you break it down, it was 1,667 words a day, which is utterly doable for many of us, and there are other ways of doing it. So I thought, well, I've done Nano loads of times, I can absolutely do it in a month. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself? It's got to be, it was actually 55,000 words I think for that one. It's got to be 55 meaningful words. Anybody can just churn out 50,000, and I thought, well, it's going to take longer than a month, and there's a lot of different chapters in there, there's a lot of content. I need to think about how to structure it, how to get everything in there that has some message and meaning and enthusiasm. And there's a few bits in there that I absolutely adore. There's some bits in there which I think, so getting to 50,000, it took me about 4.5 months, but it was intense, and that was one thing I learned about telling people when you can do it by give yourself some wiggle space. Yeah, big time.
Is this traditionally published? I love the cover. I think it's a great cover. Did you have any say in that?
The publisher gave me 2 options. So I come from a self-publishing and independent publishing background. So when the publisher gave me 2 options, that's actually quite a good thing. Quite often they won't give you any options, whatever they say. They might even change the title as well. So whatever the content is, they have a big say in how that will change too. But with this cover, I got 2 options. That was the much better of the 2 that I liked.
Yeah, cool, good. So what was your favourite part of writing it?
I have 2 favourite parts. The writing fiction, which is about 70 pages worth. So there's quite a lot involved in that. And the other part is the troubleshooting at the end. That was really good fun because there's so many times we find sometimes when we're writing we might write ourselves into a corner and not be quite sure how to get out of that. So there's things like how to get out of writing yourself into a corner, or how to pick up the pace, or how to slow down the pace, or how to develop a character further. All those sorts of things are in the troubleshooting section. But those 2, I think, the writing fiction and that one, were my favourite.
Okay, so the opposite of that, what was your least favourite part and why?
Okay, my least favourite is probably the writing poetry section, because I feel very confident with creative writing in many of its forms, but not with poetry. I do write poetry occasionally, but I rarely share it. So I had a contact in America who is a poet, and he advised me on a lot of ways to tackle that one. So I didn't enjoy that particularly, but he helped me with that one, and he is mentioned in the acknowledgements too.
So that actually covers my next question. Anyway, how did you overcome writing the least favourite part?
It helps to have some contacts here and there.
It's all about contact, isn't it? Okay, so that's it for the creative writing. Now, the other book, which I have to confess I haven't yet read, but I promise I will. So, this is fiction.
Yes.
And why did you want to write a fiction story? Well,
this particular book, this has got an awful lot of me in it as well. I wanted to write this particular one because the story came to me while I was writing another Nano, actually, and I quickly jotted down some notes and then went back to it a few years later. So this one took quite some time to actually become, manifest into a book. When I was able to do it, I took it up to 30,000 words and left it there for about 5 years. But the idea behind this book was taking a lot of what we know about writing, and the main character, well, actually one of the main characters is a writer. So I gave her a lot of what goes on in my head, which might sound a bit scary. But essentially, this isn't giving away any spoilers, it's 2 stories in one. It's 2 maybe relationships in one book, and they're quite separate and they're interleaved. The story is that essentially the main character isn't allowed to finish her book the way that she wants to, because she's got a very nasty publisher, who's a horrible lady. But don't let that influence you. You might love her. You won't. And because she wouldn't let her write the ending how she wanted to, she had a very nasty conversation with her, and her name is Lila, to ease herself away from that nasty conversation. She gets in her car and drives down the lanes and shouts and screams and tries to get all of that anger out of her. But unfortunately, there's a car coming the other way and they have a massive crash. Lila ends up in a coma, and she very cleverly uses the coma to become the character and makes the story finish the way she wanted it to finish. So there's no spoilers, that's in the synopsis too. I don't even know if I answered your question. I got so involved in what the story is about there.
Okay, so obviously being in a coma, there's a lot of medical stuff in there. How did you research it all?
Well, interestingly, several years ago, my dad was in a coma. He's perfectly okay now, and he gave me permission and everything to use it as well. And I interviewed him about what it was like to be inside a coma, because I'd hoped somehow that he would be in this dream, and I could obviously use that for Lila's dream. And it turns out he didn't remember anything as far as he was concerned. He went to bed one night and then 5 days later woke up in intensive care.
All right.
Didn't have a clue what happened, and I thought, well, that's not very helpful, is it? I can't write a book about nothing. So we all had a laugh about that, and I interviewed him and my mum to ask what her thoughts were on how he was and his thoughts, and he didn't have any recollection of the coma at all, so a lot of that had to be creative license. But I have another writer friend who used to be a GP, and she gave me some inside info on hospitals and coma patients. There's a quite a large police aspect in it. I have another writer friend who is a policeman, or was a policeman, and he gave me lots of information on road traffic accidents. And there was another person I contacted, I can't think who that was now, but that was another part of the research on getting everything just right.
Okay. Right. Writing a book with two stories running concurrently, that's quite tricky. Did you find that hard to
Yes.
write? A simple short answer. The shortest answer so far, yes.
It was horrendous, because I was trying to make it so that it was easy for me to write, but from the reader's point of view, if they find anything complicated or not interesting or it's so complex, they're going to lose interest, and I don't want, after all this effort, for it to be put down and walked away. So I had a really good think about how I was going to tackle this, and in the end I decided I was going to write each story separately and then interleave them chapter by chapter.
Right.
So I had to actually literally write each sort of novella, if you like, each story, each relationship, but they echo each other. Just to add a little bit of extra challenge for me writing it, there's a fair few characters in it, and I generally don't use more than 6 because I find that's quite enough, but there was a lot more than that. Now, all of those characters' traits and characteristics are mirrored in the other story, so there's a not exactly the same but very mirrored, and there was a lot of echoing going along between the two that I had to really make it cohesive.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would have just seemed like two stories separate. How do they even match? But that was a challenge, but it was a fun challenge once I'd actually worked out how to do it.
Okay. So how do you feel? How do you feel once you've finished a story? What goes through your mind then? Is it, I'm going to do the next one, or is it,
After I've finished a story, because I'm generally so involved with the characters, and quite often I have a crush on at least one of them, that I feel really bereft.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, utterly bereft, and for about a month I'm really trying hard to find the mind space to focus on the next story, because I'm reeling still from the finishing the last one, because you spend so much time with them, you're thinking about them all the time, you're dreaming about them probably, and every waking moment is about each character and how their behaviour is with another character. So you've lived with them for as long as it takes to write the book. So once it's over, everyone's gone.
Now, this isn't your only fiction work. Have you ever killed off a favourite character?
I've not killed off a favourite one. I have killed a few, and some of them have absolutely deserved it. It was like a punishment, the ultimate punishment. But some of them have been parents, and I've been crying while I've been writing it, and people have said when they've read it that really tipped them over the edge, and it was really sad. So, yeah, I have killed off a few people, but not always through punishment.
Right, okay. Do you get that same feeling once you've finished writing non-fiction? Does that stick with you?
I don't think it's the same. We use a different part of our brain for a start, but with non-fiction, I've written quite a few non-fictions now, and they do feel more like a project for a reader to get something from, whereas novels are, I know the reader's going to get something from it in an entertaining way, but this is more informative and educational. So that's the difference in the two. There's the outcome is going to be different. So I do miss the end, like it's over, I've been working on it a long time, but now it's time to move on. But with with actually characters, as far as I'm concerned, they're real people.
Okay. What's next?
Okay. Well, in the next couple of weeks, I'm publishing another non-fiction, and this one's called 201 Cost-Friendly Activities for All Ages and All Abilities, and hopefully it's going to be really well received. I'm hoping it's going to be it's for all ages and abilities, so it's for everybody, but it's anything. You can do anything with the family, on your own, with friends, that is either very, very low cost or completely free. And it's things that you might not even think about as well. So they're quite creative. Some of them are doing things, going out places, and others are just taking a moment, might be meditation. Some of them might come across as a little quirky, which I hope they do, because they are. But there's
nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think there's let's find more time to be quirky and creative. But there's something in there for everyone, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jolly good. Well, finally, where can people purchase your work?
The majority of them are on Amazon, so look up SJ Banham and you'll find all my work.
There'll be links in the description below. So, Sarah J Banham, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.